Hi, it's Andriy, and this is the third part of creating games using Flutter Flame game engine. And today we're going to create bullet component, and we will add some enemies. So basically this part doesn't contain a lot of new information. It's just like repeating something we already did before. So just like gonna be some plain coding, and yeah, you can basically stop this part anytime and try to do everything yourself. But yeah, we go step by step. So let's continue with bullet component. First of all, I would like to create a new file called bullet.dart, and here we're going to create class bullet component. We would need to extend sprite animation component. And we would need to import flame components. Yes. So just to make everything faster, I would just copy paste some code from player component. I think most of the code is relevant here as well, and we would need to copy paste the whole onload function. Here is the bullet component, and yeah. As you can see, game is undefined, so we would need to implement mix scene has game references, and here we need sky game as a reference. So let's just remove stuff which we don't need. Especially we would need to format the code to see better. We would need to change the name. We don't need a plain sprite, we need a bullet PNG. Amount is 1, so we could basically use any type of other components. So sprite animation component is not really necessary here to use, because our sprite or our image contains only one image. But yeah, I just want to show you how easy it is to use sprite animation component, and yeah, I mean, it will take less time. In the same time, this code is expandable, so if you find a resource of bullet with 2 images or even more, you can just replace it, and your component should work right away. So we would need also to change the size, because our bullet is smaller, and yeah, something like this. Anchor center position is important part, you know. So where we are going to add our bullet. Let's come back to the game. Yeah, the position for player is the center of the screen, somewhere here. And the bullet position should be basically dynamic. So we will add bullets exactly where our player is located. We also need to change position depending on this small cannon here, because yeah, logically bullets should fly from this cannon, not from the head of the pilot, for instance. So yeah, this is something we need to solve now. It's a bit more, it's a bit different from the player component, but I can assure you there is nothing really special or nothing really complex here. In that regards, we would need to give this position from the outside. So that's why we would need to make a constructor and just say super.position, because position is the class field of any component, sprite animation component especially, and this means that we set position from the outside when we create this bullet component. Okay, and here we don't need position anymore. Yes, what's wrong here? The function body must be provided. I have to add comma here. Okay. Well, our component looks more or less ready, especially the initialization part. And now we would need to obviously change or override the update function, because our bullets are going to move from the plane to the right side constantly, and so we would need to change the position of the bullet on the screen. Void update. The same way we need double DT here, and we need a super update DT. And finally, we're changing position horizontally. In this case, we need to change X coordinate. Plus, so the X coordinate will increase depending on speed. Let's make it 300, multiply to DT. Yeah, it's basically something similar we did for the player. As you remember here, in every of those functions, like we had movement speed, multiplies on DT, and here we have also movement speed. Yeah, feel free to make it as a constant, just to make code more readable. Yeah, let's do it. Const. Static const bullet speed 300. If you will implement something more complex, you know, like your game will have like different levels, or shooting could have different options. So like, you know, this plane is flying and collecting some special items. You can change bullets, you can change the bullet speed, and here obviously it's important to keep the bullet speed not as a constant, maybe just as a variable, and yeah, you can modify the speed obviously. But in our simple case, we'll stay with a constant speed for our bullets. Important part is that if our bullets is flying out of the screen, we would need to remove it from the game, because you can imagine we can shoot endlessly and we have so many bullet components in our game, and it's just a leak. So it will just increase. At some point, I don't know, never happened to me, you could experience the memory leak or something like this, but we're smart people and we just try to avoid it right away. So we need to check if the position of our bullet plus size of the screen is less than 0, then we need to remove from parent. So this function removes our bullet from the game. Okay, looks good. We don't need this import. Okay. Yeah, that's basically it about bullet component. Now the trickiest part is to add it correctly to the screen, to the game. And here we would need to do some changes on the player side. On the player side, everything is pretty straightforward. We would need to add just one function. And what do you think is the function? Yeah, it's a function called shoot, which is pretty simple. So as you know, we already have a game reference. I told you before it's cool. And yeah, about the game reference, I think I told in the first part of our workshop. So here's the link for the first part of workshop. Check it out if you didn't, or here is also the link to the second part. So yeah, please check it out and hope you like it as well. Yeah, we need to add a bullet component. And here is not that simple. We would need to specify a position, but why it's simple. And we need the position X and position Y. So just a bit of explanation what is happening here. Let me just make some formatting. Yeah. So in our player, when we shoot, we add bullet component, but position here is the position of the player. So position of the player, where our player is exactly located now. Yeah, so now it's like middle of the screen, now it's other XY, now it's other XY, and these are the XY we pass to our bullet component. So the game knows where exactly to add our bullet component. Yeah, simple. Now let's jump to the game. If we created a function, obviously we would need to execute it somewhere. And this is the place which is responsible for controlling. And we already have some buttons we handle. And now we would need another action. I think space button looks suitable for me to shoot from the gaming perspective. It's a big one, and yeah, I think it will just work fine. Keyboard key, and we need a space button, and now we can do player component dot shoot. Okay, not bad. Well, now let's run and debug. Okay, now let's see the result. And yeah, I can fly, I can shoot. I'm shooting. Yeah, it's great, but as you can see, our bullets are flying from the tail, which is not cool. And we can change that thing as well easily. So we would need to go to our shoot function and I don't know, do +100 here. So we move the starting point of the bullet a little bit to the right. Let's see the result. Now they fly from the wing. So we would need to make it a little bit to the bottom, so we need to modify the y coordinate. Let's make it plus 50. Let's see the result. No, it's too low. Plus 20. Yeah, I'll just make it here. Look, so we shoot exactly from our gun, and it looks cool in my opinion. Yeah, perfect. Now, one thing I wanted to check if it really works. I would really like to check if our bullets are getting removed from the game. And this is the place where we're removing the bullet from parent. And I'll just do the print statement. Bullet is removing. So our bullets are not getting removed, and I think this is the bug here, which I really want to fix because yeah, this is a performance issue and we need to think about beforehand those issues. And here I think it's just a simple change. So we would need a game size.x, and this means that when our bullet is bigger, the position is bigger than the game size, we are going to remove the bullet. Let's check if this thing works now. So yeah, let's shooting, and you can basically see that the bullets are getting removed. Even here you can see it on the game screen. Here, look. Yeah, I mean, I think it's okay, but if you really want to bullets to fly out of the screen, you can obviously add some delta here, and I think it's gonna be okay. But here is the confirmation that our bullets are removing. Okay, now let's just remove this print statement. We don't need this anymore, and yeah, we can basically complete action point. Here we added a bullet component. And the last thing for today is going to be adding our enemies. So if we are like protagonists in our game, our player, we can shoot. So we need some objects, some characters which we are going to shoot. In our case, some components. And for that we would need to create another file. We call it evil rocket component .dart. Actually, I should try to stick to my own guidelines. So file named simply evil rocket, and the class is going to have the full name evil rocket component, which I'm going to extend sprite animation component. Yeah, basically the same. We need to import flame components. Also, we don't forget about as game reference sky game. Let's format the code. Yeah, looks good. And in the same way as for bullet component or player component, we need to copy paste on load function here to the evil rocket auto format. We need to change the size 170 to 100 and amount is 2. As you might remember, we have this rocket PNG which contains two states or two images, and here we would need to change the texture size to 800. Well, yeah, of course, also we need another PNG for our evil rocket component. In the same way for the bullet, we need to pass position of the evil rocket component because it's dynamic. So my idea that all those rockets will fly from the right side of the screen from here and try to attack our player. That's why we would need to specify the position, and here I do the same, basically the same superposition. Okay. I want our evil rockets to be strong, but I think this is something we are going to implement in the next part about the collisions. But yeah, let's keep it like it is. And yeah, that's basically it. But yeah, we forgot to add an update function or update function. The same way here we do update as the same way as for bullet, but in our case we need to do minus because bullets, because the rockets, they're flying other direction from the right to left, and yeah, I don't know, let's make rocket speed 300 as well. What about removing the rocket from the game? We need that our X position is less than 0. So other side. Well, it looks good. And now we need to add those evil rockets to our game. In order to do this, I would create something like a randomizer of those rockets, or not a randomizer, I want to implement some timer. So for instance, every second the new rocket will appear and fly from the right side to the left side, something like this. As you might know that for implementing timer in Flutter or Dart, we would need the stream, and I would call it rockets timer. Yeah. So here we need to initialize this stream. It's gonna be stream periodic. Yes. And what we need here as a parameters, first, of course, we need a duration, right? Duration is gonna be, maybe 1 second is too often. Let's make 2 seconds. And then we need a timer, this function. So this function is gonna be executed every 2 seconds when we start our timer. And here we just need to create our rocket component. I call it evil rocket component. The position is, so it's last x position, so it's vector 2, size point x, and the y position is a bit more difficult. So I want to make random y position. So for player it should be a challenge, you know. If we start rocket every time from the same position, there is no challenge. And here we need to specify the same way size y, but for y position I would need some multiplier. And here we can create a random variable, new random, and double, yeah, I'll use the double as a multiplier. I call it y delta, and random next double. I mean, looks good, and we need to multiply it. Okay, let me rearrange the screen. Here we just need to add this rocket or evil rocket. Okay, this looks great in my opinion. One thing we need to add is starting our timer, and we need a rocket's timer dot listen. And yeah, so we don't care about the result, we just listen and see if it works. Let's check this out. Okay, let's build. Hot restart works, and here are evil rockets flying every 2 seconds, as you can see, randomly. We cannot shoot them now because we don't have any collision handling, but this already looks like a game. You already can basically test how you can fly through those rockets, just to try to avoid them, stuff like that. But you see that game is already playable, which means that we completed our next part. Here we added some enemies. And this was it for today. So maybe not that cool and interesting. We just tried things which we already did, and this was like only a business logic related part of our workshop. But the next part, or the last part, will be super interesting, super challenging. We'll handle some collisions, because we need to handle different types of collisions. We need to handle collision between a bullet and the rocket, and we need to handle collision between rocket and player, handle some lives and some gaming logic, so to say. Yeah, so please subscribe on this channel if you like my videos, and like this video if you like it. It will help me a lot, and I will just say a huge thank you. And I see that this workshop is recognizable, people are watching, people are interested, and this is like a big honor to me. Hope to see you in the next part, and have a great coding